Okay, Michael. So tell me, what do you do and for how long have you been doing it?
Scott, I'm an architect. I have been in professional practice in my own company here for 25 years, and I was an architect with another practice about 7 years before that. So over 30 years in practice. Goes quickly.
Yeah.
Too quickly.
Still learning the game then.
Still learning the game.
So what would your ideal customer look like then?
We work for a variety of people over the years. The best customers are the guys that we can really engage with. We can build a relationship with. We can tuck in beside them. We always tell people we don't have a monopoly on all the ideas. We like to work. We find that we're ideas people, but when we build relationships with people, be they house builders, be they private individuals, be they commercial property people, be they social housing landlords, we find that if we can build a relationship, we end up with a better product the closer we work with them. So it's people who want to engage, people who want to work with us, and we like to try and provide that quite tailored, individual, supportive, creative, adding value service to them.
Yeah, so it's a collaborative thing then. You work with the clients, not for them, sort of thing.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So tell me, what was the biggest impact of COVID-19, and give me one or two actions you've taken that you're still using today.
COVID, yeah, that's a curious one for us because I sat our team down at the end of 2019. I think it was November 19, coming up to the end of that decade, and I sat them all down. There was about 10 of us, and I said, guys, it's the end of a decade. It's been a tumultuous decade in the property industry. There's been lots of stories of pain and failure, and right across the country, being the contractors and consultants and the like. So I said, guys, let's draw a line under that mentally. And I said it more as much for myself as I did for them. I said, let's draw a line under it. I personally think my strong conviction is the next decade will be a good one for us, be a good one for the construction industry in this country. And let's prepare for that. Let's get some investment levels back into the company. Let's retool some of our hardware and our software. And I did say, guys, what we will do is we'll close down a little bit early in Easter 2020, and we'll refurbish the office. And we'll come back after a slightly extended break. So the first lockdown was perfect for us. Perfect, yeah. You'd almost thought we knew what we were doing. And we took probably 8-10 weeks. The guys were away, and we refurbed the office during that time. We spent a fair wee bit of money for a practice of our size. We renewed all our software. We updated all of our hardware. We created a new sort of video conferencing area, which is perfect, has been perfect for us. So that first year of COVID has been great. Our other plan with that was then we would we'd start to increase our staffing levels, and we thought, right, we've got 20 seats in this office. We had a staff of about 11, 12 at that time. And we thought, right, let's in the next 3-4 years get that number up to 20. And we've been quite successful in doing that. We're up to 16 now. The ambition is to earn another 3 or 4 more. So we're actively recruiting at the minute.
Brilliant. And I think it showed real courage to go ahead with your investment plan, even though everything had shut down and so much uncertainty.
Well, everybody paused. Everybody hit the pause button. My strong conviction was that was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And that unsettled a lot of people in the industry. And then it became easier to employ people because you were offering them security, you were offering them confidence moving forward. So that was a good time for us. So yeah, I still think, despite COVID, despite Ukraine, despite Brexit, despite everything that's going on, even today, I still think, that was the right decision. So we press on with that.
Brilliant. And what would be your biggest learning since you've been a business owner then?
Scott, it's all about your people. There was an old saying, when I started, it was, people are one of your best assets. People are your only asset.
Yeah.
Unless you've got great people around you, you've really got nothing. And, it's a passion of mine to develop the people around me, I'm 59 years old now. I think I've got maybe 10 years of career, a little bit, maybe more. And you've really got to have a strong succession plan. You've got to develop the people, identify the giftings in the people you've got, resource that, train them, create a sort of fertile place for that to develop and grow. And sometimes those people stay with you, sometimes you go.
Yeah.
You think that's fine either way. You hope more stay than go.
Yeah.
But that's it's your people. People are your only asset. And what I discovered, even the most junior staff bring something clever. If there's something unique about them. Because everyone brings their uniqueness, their own skill, their own gifting, their own ability, and even the junior guys are contribute, I think, significantly.
I think you hit the nail on the head though. It's having that environment where everybody is able to contribute though.
Yeah.
And that's something obviously you work hard to do.
Yeah, I think, we work in an open plan office. You've got to keep your team very healthy. You've got to, you've got to, you've got to keep your team really healthy, relationships really healthy. You've got to be high on integrity, high on professionalism. And if there are situations, the relationships that go wrong, you've got to deal with it really, really quickly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So what have been the biggest issues then you've had to overcome?
Yeah, in my entire business life.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. One, learning you're not bulletproof.
Okay.
Okay. When I started off here, I was 31, I think. And you're full of energy. You're full of. You've got plenty of energy. Your health is strong. Your energy, your mental health is good. And it comes a point, where you realized, what, you've got to learn to balance all this stuff, family life. You've got to really, really work hard to get that balance. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
that's really important. Or else you kind of you just burn yourself out. That's been key. That's been key. It's not avoiding the problems. There's always problems there. It's how you deal with them and creating that positive environment. Okay, we're not, a problem is just an opportunity for a solution.
Yeah.
And you create that mindset in the team. You create that in all of your staff, and actually that creates that sort of, you de-stress your team in many ways, and that is such an important thing. But yeah, there's always issues, always problems, always. And you've got to be honest with yourself about what you can do well and what you can't do well. You've got to bring people around you and delegate to them what you don't do well. And I find it very liberating when you can get people around you who do stuff better than I do, and I don't do that much stuff that well, but I do a couple of things very well.
Yes.
And that's enough. And the rest of the guys, they do the rest.
It's a sign of a great leader being able to recognize that.
The delegation thing, you always want to control it, control the concept and the way it's worked out and the detail and the delivery of any idea. But, you have to be honest with yourself and think, right, Michael, I'm not that good at some of this, or there are people beside me who are younger than me, less experienced than me, who've got better gifting at it than I have.
Yeah.
That for me is that's really important. Or even when some clients phone up and they want an initial chat with me, and then they just say, Michael, don't want to speak to you anymore. I want to speak to. I find that very liberating. There was a time that might be a wee bit offended and had certain feelings of insecurity, but I find it liberating now when clients say that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it just shows how you have nurtured your team and brought them on then, and how well you've done that.
That's key. I think that for me, that's key. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that then, who's been your best coach you've ever had, and why?
That's a good question. That's a good question. It's a good question. At the minute, I said we got our own investment levels right in 2020 and 2021 in terms of all we spent on hardware, software. This year actually has been a year of personal development. So we sent that for, I've got some coaching stuff teed up for all of our senior staff members. Okay. So including me. So I'm on a thing called Strategic Coach, which is a year-long session development thing I do right throughout this year. I'm sort of halfway through that. All of our other senior guys are on either professional or personal or technical development. So that's the sort of coaching question. In terms of who's been my greatest coach, I have an old friend actually, who's in his 70s now, who was a church pastor, and he was brilliant with people. He was fantastic with people. He could see the best in them, get them plugged in where they needed to be plugged in, could identify their giftings and what they did well. And he was like a father figure to me. And over the years, I've sort of realized I kind of do some of the stuff that I learned from him to do. Yep. So, and that's been just a great, a very positive thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a specific thing, but it was just like a very good, almost father-son type relationship that I had and still have.
Yeah.
That's been very positive. It's been very positive for me, and I've taken the lessons of that.
Brilliant. And it sounds like things pass them on to some of your team if you're doing what you learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So do you have any favorite quotes or sayings?
I read one recently I thought was very apt from a guy called Robert Maxwell, who is a business sort of coach in the States. And he said, when opportunity arises, it's too late to prepare. And I read that about 2 years ago, and I thought, right, that's the journey we're on. And it sort of gave me the courage to keep on investing, because I thought there was opportunities out there, and I thought, and they were, if they came to our door, we needed to be ready. And everybody else was hitting the pause button and being cautious, and I thought that wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah,
we kept still writing the checks, buying the equipment, getting the training programs in place, and we have actually, the fruit of that's been in the last 3 or 4 months, we've had opportunities that have come our way that we've never had before, and we were ready for them because we had additional staff, we had just more expertise and more capacity to respond quickly, to respond commercially. So yeah, that's my favorite one at the minute.
Yeah, no, that's very relevant. Yeah, and it just shows you've been proven right then with your decision to keep going when everybody else paused.
Yeah.
So what does the future look like for Studio Rogers, and what do you see as the main challenges moving forward?
Yeah, as I said before, I think this decade will be sound enough. I think there'll be growth in that for our company if we just keep moving forward. And if we're high on professionalism, high on integrity, high on service, I think there'll be opportunities. But no doubt there will be many issues, many problems, as many as before, and we just have to work through those. I think we'll have to travel maybe a little bit further for our work, perhaps. We're working a very bit in the Republic of Ireland now, which was an opportunity that came recently. It's not Dublin-based work, it's Kildare, it's Limerick, it's Tipperary. And I think there will be opportunities, for us right across the country. So, we're lifting our horizon a wee bit and being more proactive with that.
Fantastic. What would you say to anybody thinking going into business now?
Yeah, if you want to do it, don't hang back. Take good advice, get great people around you. It's important you have the support of your friends and families and your wife, your partners. I think that's so important. And you've got to love it. You've got to get up every day on wet Tuesdays in February and still love it. And yeah, I have no regrets. I have no regrets about doing it. I'm glad I did it. I did it relatively early. And yeah, I think, you've got to prepare as best you can, execute as best you can, but you've got to get out of the boat and paddle, walk on the water a wee bit.
And last question then, if you started your business again, what would you do differently, if anything?
Yeah, that is a good question. What would you do differently? You know what? You'd be probably I remember in the early days when you saw the workload starting to increase, and you thought, right, I need to employ more people to deal with that. You're always slightly cautious about taking that plunge, but you invariably waited too long.
Mm.
And my advice about that is, guys, if your workload is building, get people in to support you. Get them in as soon as you can. It takes you months to employ people. You've got to advertise. You've got to look. You've got to shortlist. You've got to interview. You've got to let the good people work their notices. So it takes you months and months and months. During those months, you can be in crisis.
Yeah.
And if you move quickly, then you stand a better chance of getting them in quickly. The way we recruit now, and recruiting is very different than it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, you stuck an advert in the paper, and now you don't know what to do. You know, there's so many ways of getting your message out, but we actively recruit, even if we don't think we have a position. And if someone really good comes along, we take them. So we think, right, that person, if we set them in the right environment, will create their own work.
Yeah.
And that's that part about investing and developing people.
Yeah.
You know, good guys bring their own work. Good guys create their own work, you know, because just of, you know, if they're known and their giftings out there. And so we've done that recently. A guy came to me and I thought, right, he was a senior guy, senior position, 20 years experience. And I thought, okay, he's a bit more expensive than we wanted to than we normally pay. Do we have enough work for him? I'm not quite sure. Do we like him? Yeah. Could we use him? Yeah. Should we take him? I thought, well, let's just do it, you know. And then you find 2 or 3 months later, you're looking for somewhere else, looking for someone else as well, because you know the work has come. So that's my big takeaway is don't hesitate to employ good people. And our radar is always up. And I think you've got to do that. Recruiting is hard. Getting great people is hard. That's a big challenge.
It's worth the effort.
Yeah.
Michael, that was fantastic. Thanks so much. I really enjoyed that. And thanks for being so open and honest and sharing your journey.